let's get into my power rankings following week 4. I want to preface this by saying, goodness me, we got 3 of the top 4 scoring offenses in the South Division and 2 of the top 3 scoring defenses in the North Division. And they're coming from some places that you probably did not think they would come from. But at number 1, the Birmingham Stallions retain their position as they are the only undefeated team left in the USFL. We saw the return of Alex Magoo, and it could have gone better for him. It's a little bit rough, threw for 126 yards, but the defense has been buoying the Stallions basically since the jump. With Scooby Wright back there calling the defense, John Chavis doing an outstanding job as defensive coordinator. They were able to get a win this weekend without the help of perhaps their second best defensive player in DeMarcus Gates. I'm really interested to see if the Stallions can keep this up, mostly because they have been a second half team since the word go. I'm sure that this is really in Skip Holtz's craw as an offensive-minded coach, as an offensive coordinator who helped put Notre Dame on the map with a national championship in 1993. I'm sure that he's looking around going, what do I have to do? Because he's doing everything in his power. He's gone through Jamar Smith. He's gone through Alex Magoo. CJ Marable's getting touches. They're throwing the ball to Vic Bolton just as much as they possibly can. And I think they're going to have to try to figure this thing out by this weekend, because the slow starts, while being a bugaboo that hasn't come back and bit them in the form of a loss yet, could certainly be one of those things that they are worried about as they go into week 5 when they face the Philadelphia Stars, who are tied for the league lead in scoring offense with 23.75 points per game. Okay, number 2 on the list, the New Orleans Breakers. I can see how we could have a little bit of consternation here, but the way that the Breakers offense has been able to move along has been pretty constant. I mean, we're talking about Slaughter going for 397 yards. We didn't have a 300-yard passing game until he went for 397 against the Houston Gamblers on Sunday, all right? He's also had 41 attempts, and yeah, they had the 4 turnovers, all 4 coming from Slaughter, right? 3 interceptions and a fumble loss. But outstanding wide receivers, Johnny Dixon, Sal Cannella, Tayshawn Taylor. We can keep going. Jay Adams, getting outstanding production from Jordan Ellis and Larry Rose. They're really moving and shaking. I really love that they absolutely are going as fast as they can offensively. They're picking them up, putting them down, trying to put points on the board. And they have one of the best front sevens, if not the best front seven in the entire USFL, led by Davin Bellamy. They're doing an outstanding job, really stymieing folks. I mean, they held Houston to just 28 yards on 20 rushes. And going into the season, going into the week, Mark Thompson was the league's leading rusher. They held him to 14 yards on 10 carries. Just remarkable from them. Number 3 on the list, the New Jersey Generals, also at 3-1, like the Breakers, but 3-0 in the North Division. This is where I could say, hey, you could pick a fight with me if you wanted to, because of what the Generals have been able to do since losing, like the Breakers, to the only undefeated team in the USFL. Mike Riley continues to make this 2-quarterback system work. DeAndre Johnson and Luis Perez combined to go 20 of 24 for 200 yards passing against the Pittsburgh Maulers in their latest win. They have a 3-game winning streak. They have command of the North Division. They are going to be tough to beat the rest of the way. I can't wait to see them play the Stallions once again and really get to play the Breakers once again. Those 3 teams are all fascinating to me. Number 4 on the list, the Philadelphia Stars at 2-2 and 2-1 in the division, very much in that playoff spot for the North Division, and they were able to get a win by the skin of their teeth without their starting quarterback, Brian Scott. Case Cookis comes in and plays a heck of a game, puts in a position to win, and really, I thought, had pretty great command of the offense, all things considered, especially knowing that he didn't expect to be the starter, but knew that he would get his number called if something happened to Brian Scott, and it did. The defense has been outstanding. Channing Stribling is still one of the better defensive backs in this league. Add to that what Jordan Moore has meant to them at the linebacker position. Bart Andrus is in a really good position to continue to take ownership of that second playoff spot in the North Division, and he gets the win against the guy that, well, he was quarterback for in Pop Warner and was on the staff for on a team that reached the Super Bowl with Tennessee Titans and Jeff Fisher. Really outstanding stuff there. Okay, number 5 on the list, the Tampa Bay Bandits at 2-2 and 1-2 in the South Division. The Bandits are doing the best Jekyll and Hyde impersonation in the USFL. One week, they look outstanding. The other week, it's like, what happened here? They were so adrift in their last outing against the Stallions that I was talking to myself going, ooh, there's Angry Todd. And then Angry Todd, yeah, he copped to that. Todd Haley's like, hey, look, I was Angry Todd, Kansas City Todd. I got to nip that in the bud. But I can understand why they kind of felt like, hey, what do I have to do to get these dudes to, one, understand what we have at stake here? And then they were getting some questionable calls from the officials. But hey, if your quarterback throws for 255 the week before, comes back and throws for 125, you got to wonder what's going on there, especially as the Bandits have one of the better looking rosters in the USFL. And Pepper Johnson's defense has been pretty good. They've been pretty consistent, right? They were able to hold the Stallions to just 3.7 yards per play. So it felt like if they could get some offense from their offense, they'll be right up there competing for that second spot in the South Division as we approach week 5. Number 6 in my power rankings, Houston Gamblers at 1-3 and 0-3 in the South Division. I'm having a hard time figuring out Kevin Sumlin's team, really, because I expected them to be outstanding offensively and maybe need some work defensively. Couldn't be further from the truth. They are outstanding defensively and still figuring out offensively. Clayton Thorson looked like he figured it out last week. Turns out that wasn't true when they played this weekend against the Breakers. You're also talking about Mark Thompson, who I thought had an opportunity to be really what Daryl Moose Johnston had thought he would be, which is one of the best offensive players in this league. And he's playing like it up until they faced the Breakers. He was leading the league in rushing offense. And then he met that Breakers front seven. And then you're talking about defense for the Gamblers, led by Tim Lewis, defensive coordinator, that has been remarkably good. Mike Abernathy had a pick, right? We're talking about Will Likely having a pick. We're talking about Reggie Northrup being the leader on that defense. Donald Payne leads the entire league in tackles. If they get the offense figured out, nobody wants to play the Gamblers. And I'm sure Kevin Sumlin's trying to do everything he can to get that offense to score some points for them, because it feels like they could just as easily be 3-1 as they are 1-3. Number 7, the Michigan Panthers. They had a win. They had a win in front of them, and kicker missed a 21-yard field goal attempt. And Jeff Fisher said it best in the postgame: your kicker has to make that kick. That's not even a PAT. They lose the game 26-25 to the Stars, one that I'm sure that Fisher thought he should have won. I mean, you got 152 rush yards on 12 carries from Reggie Corbin, including an 88-yard scamper in the first half. You put up 251 rushing yards against the Stars. You got to wonder, hey, are we really a kicker away? And there might be some movement over there, right? We saw that the Breakers went ahead and pulled the trigger on that, and it paid dividends for them against the Gamblers. Be interesting to see what kind of roster management Jeff Fisher tries to perform as they head into their game on Friday night against the Bandits, who I'm sure are going to be looking to try to get a win. And also, there's another really great AFC rivalry there between Todd Haley and Jeff Fisher. Number 8, of course, the Pittsburgh Maulers. 0-4, 0-3, the only winless team in the league. I could leave it there, but I'm also going to add here, for the second straight week, they're without their best wide receiver in Bailey Gaither. Though Trey Walker caught 9 passes for 110 yards, he was also targeted 17 times, which is a little bit better than catching half the passes that are thrown at you. Kyle Oletta got the start, 15-32 for 169, and they just weren't able to do much against the New Jersey Generals and their rushing attack. I get that everybody wants to dunk on the Pittsburgh Maulers. I'm not going to do it. I understand those dudes are out there battling, and I've seen them be in these games where it feels like they could win them late if they have some things break for them that have broken for their opponents. I think they're going to have an opportunity here to try to settle themselves up against a South Division opponent in the Houston Gamblers, but you can still reel off 6 in a row and perhaps squeak in, especially in the North Division, to that second playoff spot. So I'm not going to shut the door on their playoff possibility. So that means for me, all 8 teams still have an opportunity to get one of those 4 spots as we charge toward the USFL championship game, July 3rd in Canton, Ohio at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Your boy will be there. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.